Well, welcome. Good morning, everybody. On another lovely day here on Thornton Farm. And you join us with a couple of very good bits of news. First of all, the last of our wheat has been collected. We officially finished harvest last night, around about 8 p.m. So we have here probably about 180 tons of wheat in our stock. We're going to keep this here, leave it to dry in the store for a little bit longer, and then we'll ship it out when our contract comes in. And the second good bit of news, you can hear a truck rumbling in the background, is this. We won a couple of auction bids. Now you may remember where in one of my last videos, if you haven't seen it, I'll pop a little link in the description. We went over to a friend of mine who was folding up his practice, and he was having a farm sale, so we had a look around. I was really interested in seeing if I could get these two bits of equipment. There was a third cultivator I was looking to try and get, but someone outbid me on that one. So yeah, we were lucky enough to get these two. So we have our set of rollers here, and also our herbs dump trailer. And now, to be honest, I feel like I got a really good price for these two. The total price between the two of them came in just over, with what you add fees on top and auctioneers fees, etc. Came in a little bit over £13,000. So I think we've done very well, given the condition the pieces of kit are in, looking almost brand new. So yeah, we've saved ourselves quite a bit of money here, so I'm very happy with this. We're going to get these unloaded off now, grab one of the tractors, and we'll just get them put to the side. Primarily because I don't need them right now, and also I want to get this truck out of here so he doesn't charge me anymore. So we'll just go and grab one of my vouchers and we'll see what we can do. As you can see, I've been fortunate enough to get the combines cleaned down this morning. That's all back into the shed there. Worked like an absolute charm for the last month and a bit, no issues there. The only minor concern we had was weather related, not machine related, which is always one pleasing sign, I should say. Now, let's get the truck driver to put his ramps down. So it seems this truck driver doesn't really want to do much other than sit in his cab at the moment. He had an early start this morning to pick these up. Fortunately, one of the tractors was still at the farm sale there, so we were able to use that to push everything on apparently. So we're just going to slowly back up this ramp here. Alright, let's get this trailer off. So yeah, as you can see there, it's an immaculate looking dump trailer. Everything is brand new on it. The paintwork is fantastically well kept, which is what you can expect of Brian and his farming practice there. So we're very happy about that. I'm going to pop into this shed for now. Right, onto our rollers. The rollers are probably going to be used a lot more of immediately. We just started some cultivation work this morning. I got Chris out on the plough actually. We're going to have a look at his progress before we disappear, and then after I get this unloaded and get the lorry sent away, I am off to do a bit of cover crop planting. So we'll be busy at work, and these rollers will come into effect once we are able to get established. I was talking to my friend who I had actually looking after this for me, Colin. He was the one who was successfully bidden for these two items. And one of the strangest things happened at the sale. Almost the entirety of the equipment, saving the two bits I bought and a few other smaller things, were purchased by one buyer. This gentleman who I haven't met yet. Supposed to be introduced to him very shortly. He's actually from the west somewhere. He brought out everything. All of the three tractors, the combine, the telehandler, majority of the equipment as well he brought out. So he's clearly starting a new operation up somewhere. What I am actually going to do, I'm going to give him a phone call some point this week, because I've been lucky enough. Brian, as I mentioned last time, had a lot of contracting work, and he's been able to put in a good word for myself, because he knows I have some large equipment here. So it looks like I'm going to be taking some of the spraying work off of his books. So that could be very interesting to see where that leads. Put this back up here. So we're just going to say goodbye to the truck driver, make sure everything's tidied up with him, we'll get him out of here, and then we're going to have a quick look at Chris and see. Okay, so the truck driver is out of here, taking up too much space in my yard. So we've started our cultivation, as I mentioned there. We don't do as much ploughing as we used to, but this big field of wheat out the front here needed to be ploughed over. It's been about 3 or 4 years since it was last done, so I like to, every kind of 3 or 4 years, like to give the field a reset, plough it over, kills off any of the black grass that might be coming through there and any of the weeds that have taken a bit of a hold. So we always give it a nice plough over every so often. So fortunately, despite the amount of rain we've had, this is ploughing over very well actually. Chris is one of my drivers, as you can see, just at the top of the field there. He's a very good driver of the plough. You can see he's got a nice straight furrow on the go. We will be putting this into barley. So we're going to plough it over, give it a day or two to dry out, and then we'll bring in the power harrow probably before we get the drill onto here, just to knock the tops off it one last time. It'll be going into barley, and then as part of our rotation there we'll put a cover crop in, and then back into canola. So it's canola, barley, cover crop, canola, cover crop, wheat, spring wheat. So it's got a busy few seasons coming up. It is turning over very well. There's no trash coming up to the top there. The furrows aren't too rugged or aren't too messy. It's turning over quite nicely. It might not need a power harrow actually. We'll see how it dries out tonight and tomorrow. But we'll just watch Chris turn around here. We put him in on my larger Valtra here, the T174. The reason we put it onto that one, all of my tractors could pull that plough. It is a big plough, but I like my ploughing tractor to have a bit more weight about it, so we can get a bit more grip. So this Valtra here is the biggest Valtra we have in terms of weight. So and Chris seems to like driving this one as well. So we always like to keep him happy. So right now everything seems to be ploughing over very well. So we're not going to disturb him. We're going to jump into my fence and we're going to go and have a look at some other land we just finished combining. Actually, this was the last field we cut. We're going to put some cover crop into that and leave that for a few weeks just to allow... The cover crop does several things actually. It fixes the nitrogen within the soil, prevents any further soil erosion, but also helps with compaction. So when we're running all of our machines are very heavy. There's no two ways about that. So by putting the cover crop in there, the roots from the cover crop we're using, in this particular case it's radishes, the roots go very deep. And by going deep, they break up the topsoil, and also the subsoil underneath. So, in doing so, it allows us to reduce that compaction naturally, whilst also establishing a higher nitrogen fix, which is what we want to see really. Ultimately, that means when we do come to direct drill our next crop into this field, it will take a lot faster. It will have a good nitrogen base in the soil to begin with, and the drainage should be a little easier, a little more efficient, and a lot more improved without having to bring in mechanical implements in. Okay. So the cultivator I have on behind me here is a trailed Kuhn disc shallow till cultivator. The reason we're using this one is because it doesn't go too deep into the soil. We don't want to disturb any of the soil structure, any of the root structure too much, but we still do want to get that nice tilth to allow the cover crop to establish. I purchased this, had this one now for 1 season, as a method to continue to trial our cover crops, but also as a general top-down cultivator really. If we're not going to continue to sow cover crops, it will still serve an adequate purpose here. But yeah, so far it's doing a great job of just burying any of the surface trash, particularly when we've chopped the straw like in the field we're going to now. So I can't complain too much. Ooh. These 2 bridges are a nightmare to come over in the combine, especially the second one. So I'd just like to take this quick moment to thank everybody for the interaction I've had so far, and the feedback from these videos has been very much appreciated. And your comments, your positive, and if there is any negative feedbacks, will always be welcome. A big shout out to Pancake as well, who particularly wanted to see some cultivation. So I hope this will satisfy your needs. If you want to see anything else, do of course let me know. Okay. So I am going to leave the headlands till last. Usually I typically don't think it matters too much if you just disc in, but I'm going to just leave that bit to the end so I don't drive too much over the cover crop I've just planted. I don't want to disturb its establishment. But what I will do is just put a nice little marker line in for the end of my ends. And away we go. Around in here. This is a little bit of stony ground in this bottom side here. So this was cut yesterday, or just finished up yesterday I should say. I actually got a phenomenal yield off this field. I was very pleased with how it went. This was another field of concerto winter wheat. We had this in following winter wheat again last year. So now, like I say, it's going to go into some cover crop, and then we'll be popping some winter barley into here as well. Hopefully in the next month, by the kind of end of September, we should have this established. We're looking at about 18-20 acres of ground here. So it's a good sized field, but it also has a little bit of rocky ground towards the bottom corner where we started there. The rest of it is kind of a mixture of there's a little bit of sand in there, but it's also just quite good, a light clay. So it's we get some good water retention in some areas, and in other areas it's a little bit dry, but I'll take that rather than it being too wet, I suppose. So all being said, really, now that harvest is finished and we're able to kind of look back and reflect upon how we've performed, when you consider that the weather has been an absolute pig this year, it's really dented our ideals in terms of harvest time and conditions in which we have to harvest. I'm actually quite pleased with how we've finished out. We were able to strike when the small weather glimpses were good for us, and when the sun was out for this brief occasions, we were able to hit in and get some good acreage covered. My contract work was a little bit limited this year, wasn't too much, which kind of helped a little bit in terms of just being able to focus purely on my own work. But we've taken on a little bit of new work for next year. We're going to be taking on a little bit more land, as we've discussed previously as well, so there'll be some cultivation to do on that land soon, but it will increase our capacity, or will increase our required coverage next year, so be interesting to see how we get on with that. But ultimately, I do always establish a good contract price for my outputs and my crops. Usually I agree my contracts this time of year from next year, so I've got to speak to my trader very shortly to see what we can do. But we will be looking to get those contracts locked in, so I don't have to worry too much about prices and affecting conditions on prices. It's nice to have that guaranteed income already locked in place really for the foreseeables. So far my contracts with my with my current buyers have been fantastic. We're really lucky with the conditions that I was able to take my spring barley into malting barley. My winter wheat was of a high enough grade so we could make flour for bread rather than animal feed again. So that's always very, very satisfying to see we cleared that barrier. I think in some instances had the weather been a little bit worse and I wasn't able to get into the field quite as early, I may have seen a bit of a financial hit on that side, but fortunately that didn't apply to me. Okay, lift you up. So we'll just start to take a bit of a block off of here. So at this stage what I'm probably going to do, I don't want to sit here and talk to you and bore you half to death, but I'm going to keep my drone up in the air and we'll take a time lapse for you, and yeah, we'll see how we're looking at the end of that. This field won't take too long to do, so by the time the time lapse is done, we should be in a good place. So yeah, sit back and enjoy, and hopefully we'll see you on the other side. Well, welcome back everybody. Unfortunately you haven't quite seen as much of the time lapse as I would have preferred. I had a little GoPro on my attached to the cultivator, and at some point that's fallen off and it's gone through the discs, so it's in a million pieces in the middle of my field somewhere. That said, as you can see we are about finished. I'm just going to complete the headland a few more times here, and then we'll be good to go. So no, it's been very productive, very easy enough task to finish this off this afternoon. So quite light ground, like I said, in a lot of places, so it's made easy going of it, even with a slight slope, so it's not been too much of a hardship. What we really like to see now would be a nice bit of rain really over the next week, just to help us establish. We want to get this radish up and through so we can start to fix some nitrogen inside the crop here. But other than that, yeah, it's been very good. Chris has been finishing off ploughing by the farm now, and he's just finished now for the day. So we'll have to wait to see how he has got on by the time I get back to the yard. But other than that, yeah, it's been very good. I'm just going to tidy up on the headland here, see how we look, and then after that we'll be able to call it a day, I believe. It's nice to be able to get back to regular hours now and not have to worry about any long evenings, very early starts, very late finishes now that harvest is over. So the pressure's off us a little bit here. So yeah, we're just going to tidy up around the edge here. I've been around there once already just to loosen up and tidy up the from the ends of the runs, but we'll just finish looking up around the top here and we'll be good to go. missed a few little bits here, but it's just a cover crop there. There should be no damage, be no hardship. As you can see, there is a little bit of green still in the bottom of this stubble here. We didn't get it desiccated quite as early as I would have liked it to, so the grass did have a little bit of chance to grow through there. When you have the wet conditions as well, typically it doesn't help because it just encourages the grass to continue to grow. But what we'll do, the discs will soon make sharp work of that and knock that back down. Right into this corner, tidy up this edge here. So as I was mentioning earlier, this is going to be left to grow for probably 4 to 6 weeks, and then we'll try and get back in towards the end of September and have this drilled into directly. This will be going, so we were in winter wheat there, so this will be going back into barley once we can get this all covered up. So it'll be a nice easy job for the direct drill there, which we need to really looking to push it and see what we can get out of some different soil types. So it'll be interesting to see if it likes this kind of mixture of sandy clay ground or not. But yeah, we'll follow our progress on that side of things. And when I get back to the yard, I do have to finish up a bit of ploughing. I'm going to finish the headlands up in that backfield that Chris was ploughing out. So that's all done bar the headlands now, I've been told. So it'd be nice to finish that up. I might put the camera on there as well, just so you guys can see how I plough my headlands. And other than that, yeah, we're looking very good for today. I'm very happy with how we're making some progress. Let me know if you would like to see any additional types of coverage, any activities I'll be doing in the future that you'd like me to take my camera along for, as usual. I do like to give everyone a bit of an insight into what I'm doing here, so I welcome any feedback on that sort of thing. Oh yeah, it's a bit bumpy. We're going across a few field drains there, I think. We'll take this bit. So we'll do one more pass along the bottom here, just tidy up this this far corner. I think I'm happy enough to call that quits at that stage. This is the wet corner down here, it's just starting to stick a little bit in this bottom corner. It's always done this. I think we have a slightly blocked up drain somewhere. We're going to have to get a machine in to have a look at this, but it's just a case of finding the time. I will be due to leave this field as set aside over winter at some point in the near future, probably in 2 more crops rotation times, or crop rotations. So when we get to that stage, I'll probably leave it bare and we'll get a 360 into the bottom of the field, just have a poke around, see if we can figure out what's going on. But the good thing is with the reach fast sprayer with 36 meters, we can stay away from the wettest part on the tram lines there, so that's quite handy. Alrighty then, we'll get ourselves folded up and get ourselves back home. So the hydraulic pressures and the flow from this vent have been increased onto the auxiliary rams here, so we can get a very nice quick fold up of the implement, which is always nice. It also means that if we do lift it up at the ends of the field there, that the response is very quick and we get a nice clean, tidy end of the run. Alright then, away we go. Very rarely do you see traffic on these roads, but you just never know who's going to come down. Perfect. So I have just been on the phone this afternoon with a contractor whilst I've been working here. I do get a local contractor who specialises in pumping slurry and the slurry injection. So we're going to get him to come in the not too distant future. I want to clear out the my slurry store and the slurry pond there and just have that emptied out because it's starting to fill up a bit. And before we go and do too many more fields, get too many more fields sown up, we'll get that slurry pumped into one of those fields so we can get a bit of organic fertilizer in there. So that'll, look out for that one. That's going to come fairly soon, I imagine, or I expect. Just try and wait to see if we can get a few days of dry weather so the ground can dry up, because that does, if it's a bit sticky, you end up causing more mess than you make. So let's see. And back into the shed here. Do me. Alright, so we'll just have a wander around the corner here. We're going to see how the ploughman's got on this afternoon. And all being well, I'll take over from that and finish up for the last hour or so this afternoon. Okay, so we're looking fairly good there at the moment. Just got the headland left to go. Perfect. Yeah, very happy with this. There's a few little bits of trash still up there, but we'll get it tidied up. This end was a bit messier anyway, so we'll have that wrapped up and tidied up. But other than that, it's looking very nice and clean. So yeah, the plan for this one is, like I mentioned earlier, we'll get this ploughed over, we'll leave it for a few days, and then we'll come back in with the power harrow, and then the seed drill on top of that, and we should get this all wrapped up in a day, really, I should hope. So yeah, I'm going to leave you guys here. Thank you very much for watching as always. If you do have any comments or any feedback you'd like to provide me, then do please drop them in the link on the comments below. And if you've liked what you've seen, please don't forget to like and hit that subscribe button, and look out for more from me, and we'll catch you in the next video. Till then, stay safe and happy farming.